welcome back to My Own Worst Enemy. Unboxing time yet again. This time it is the Struggle for New France, the French and Indian War, 1755 to 1762. This is from Blue Panther. Now, I did look this up on Board Game Geek, and the first edition is there. The 2013 edition is listed as being a Schutz Games design, or is being the publisher, I should say, on this game. Best I could tell that Schutz Games was an Australian publisher that is now defunct, and I'm assuming that Blue Panther probably worked with the designer Bill Molyneux to print this second edition of this game. And this game says that it is revised rules and all new artwork, so we're going to dive into this thing and take a look. And now Board Game Geek did say that this was at least for the first edition, it was an introductory level point-to-point game. So we've got to keep that in mind as we go through here. And so build your army, fight your battles, and win the game. 1 to 2 players. I don't believe there's a solitaire-only module in here. Playtime is 60 to 90 minutes. Game contents, a 22-inch by 17-inch map, 2 players' aids, 62 poker-sized cards, 176 5/8-inch counters, so that's nice, you're going to get a little bit larger counters, 2 6-sided dice, and a rule book. So again, Blue Panther printed this, so we know the components are going to be top-notch. So let's take the lid off here, set this off to the side so that it's in camera, and I do like that artwork. That's very, if that is not a period piece artwork, it is very nice artwork indeed. So I'm going to grab these cards out of here. We'll just pop the clear plastic thing off and look at those first. And actually there's some dice falling out. There's the 2 rather large D6s. They're red and very nice dice indeed. So I'll put those off to the side. These cards are standard size poker cards. They're the nicer cards that have the coating on them, so they're not just paper. They actually feel like the nicer standard poker cards that you would get. I'm going to let you take a look at these with me, because it looks like there's some more artwork on these cards. And there's some of the reinforcements and some, again, looks like period artwork there on this. Kind of not, yeah, there's artillery for the reinforcements, more artwork, Indians, some nice naval battle going on there. So you get the idea. Disease, that looks nice. Food shortage, it looks like there's that plate looks like it's been around since the French and Indian Wars, and the spoon as well. So that's nice to have. We'll put these cards off to the side. So this is probably a card-driven game from what I can tell so far. And I'll grab the map and set it aside just for a second. There's some counters, but we're going to dig into the box and get everything else out of here. We will look at the rule book first, which also, the paper, again, is not just regular paper. It's that nice coated paper that feels like it'll last a lot longer than just regular paper with a semi-gloss type finish. So there's the introduction, the game setup, and it tells you again your units will have strength points, it looks like, and glancing at the counters that appears to be the case. We'll see that in just a second. It looks like you have a setup map, with an enlarged map on the back cover. That's nice. So this is actually the setup that you will be using in the game. Once you get your pieces out, or as you set your pieces up, you have this to refer to tell you if you're right or wrong. So that is appreciated for sure. General course of play, it looks like you're playing for victory points, or if at the end of 1762, if the French still control any of the following spaces: Montreal, Quebec, or Louisbourg. So if they control those 3, and there's some other conditions, the British player wins if they accumulate 50 victory points and controls those same 3 spaces that the French needed to control. It's like we have seasonal considerations. Winter is probably harsh, as usually it is in this type of game, the French and Indian Wars. Movement, combat, just flipping through here. Victory and defeat, we discussed that. Villages, of course, this is the French and Indian War, so we're going to have the Indian villages as well as the Indian units, interrupt cards, and a nice combat example. So this is always appreciated to help us determine how to go through combat. So it looks like there's a combat loss chart and a leader loss chart, so leaders can perish. There's designer notes, and this is always appreciated in these games to see those designer notes. So nice rule book. And let's take a look at these says that these were the player's aid cards. They're very nice. They're the heavier paper, but there's not much on them. So I'm gonna say this pretty much tells us that it's going to be a very, as I said, an introductory type game almost. It looks like the sequence of play is very, very brief. Reinforcements, move, and combat. And for the French, it's the same thing. And then you hit the end phase. So, and then your cards go down here. I do like the way they have the separate cards for each player. You have the British and the French. So that is nice. We'll get these out of the way. Nothing on the backs, just something there on the front. Then we'll take a look at these counters. Again, Blue Panther printed, so you know you're getting top-notch counters and maps and everything else, cards, all good stuff from Blue Panther. We talked about in the book that there were strength point units, and you can see that on both sides. There's Indian units, and there's a couple down there for the British, not nearly as many as the French have. You have what looks like generals down there, and of course some other informational type markers. The backs are different strengths for the units again, and just more of the same for the, I don't believe the generals reduce. They don't. It looks like they just flip. Just the information is printed again on the back side, which is nice. Nice Blue Panther counters are always appreciated. And finally, that brings us to the map. And I'm going to do something here that I'm trying to do a better job of doing. So I'm going to put this map out and go back to the rule book. As I thought I saw, anyway, I want to make sure that I give credit where credit is due. So the design, of course, was by Bill Molyneux. Development is by Ryan Heilman and Kenton Kelly. Cover and map by Tim Allen. So that's telling me that this is original artwork, and that's pretty impressive if that is indeed the case, because that looks really nice. I like that. Very evocative of the struggle there. And this map is also nice. It's point to point. It's not as detailed as some other maps we've seen, but it is nice. It looks similar to some other maps that I'm trying to think of what maybe this reminds me of, but it's not coming to mind at the moment. So counters and cards are by Ryan Heilman, and the rule book was by Ryan Heilman and Dave Shaw. And just trying to say there's a little note there about a soundtrack for a PBS documentary, The War That Made America, the story of the French and Indian War. So it serves as a great background music while playing The Struggle for New France. So you get a suggestion for some background music while you're playing this game. I haven't seen that before in a war game, but that's kind of cool. I have not seen this documentary that they are referring to. I'm going to have to check that out, because this is a subject that I am fascinated with and like to war game on. I've got several of these French and Indian war games. A playthrough of one which I should have coming up pretty soon. I won't spoil the surprise of what that is. So here you are, it is point to point. We have Baltimore at the south, and at the far north there's Quebec, and we have Louisbourg on the east side and Ottawa on the west side, and of course all the forts and Indian villages in between. The combat loss charts, movement charts, and leader loss charts are printed here for your use. The seasons will track down here. The years that go by will be tracked also next to the season. So there you go. This has been an unboxing of The Struggle for New France. This one took me by surprise. Armchair Dragoons is having an unboxing day today, and they were kind enough to send me this to take a look at. So that is greatly appreciated. If you haven't checked out the Armchair Dragoons, go back over there, check them out. They have an awesome forum, and they have just a great site over there where you can find out when conventions are coming up and all kinds of wargaming news. There you go. I thank you for watching, and if you like what I do, please consider liking the video, subscribing, and I will see you back here next time.